to Special Report.
Yet comes upon one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox. We have an epic show for you this evening. One of my good friends, very close friend of mine, a gentleman by the name of Neil Gaur is here. And he's the head and co-founder, or founder, actually, of Portal to Ascension. Portal to Ascension, as we know, is a trailblazing event creator. This gentleman I look up to him so much when we do these specific types of events because he is so abundant with knowledge and information. He's such a good-hearted person, and he is leading the pack by a ton of miles. So I'm going to bring in Neil real quick. Neil, how are you, brother?
Good, man. So good to be with you, Rob. Hello to everybody out there. Happy to be here.
Oh, dude, I'm so amped to have you here. It's crazy because we've done shows together, but when you think about it, we rarely ever do a show just me and you one-on-one, right?
No.
And talking about how Portal to Ascension came to be, what's in the cards for Portal to Ascension moving into this new year as we shift into this new age. I mean, we're going to break it all down for everybody. So one of the things I want you to start with, Neil, is I want you to tell everybody what Portal Ascension means to you and how it came to be.
All right, thank you, brother. And yeah, I do agree. Like, we have done other events together, and I've been getting you on more events lately because I feel our bond is like getting even stronger, and I really enjoy and respect the way that you communicate with people and engage. And I see your true intention too. So I wanted to be on this show with you just so that we could have more of that one-on-one connection. You know, so I just want to say
absolutely, bro. I feel the same way about you too, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, It's like we're in the trenches together taking hand grenades, but we're coming out with smiles and having a great time doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the greatest story ever told, the story of humanity, how we got to who we are and why we're doing the things that we do, you know? And we have the opportunity to explore this information. And as dense as sometimes it might get, as challenging as it might get in life, the fact that we get to explore the depths of who we are and where we came from is truly, I feel like, for you, myself, Omar, is really rewarding, and really it's our curiosity, right? Our curiosity of who are we, what are we, that has led us down this journey to explore all these truths, right?
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that for me that is a true marking of something that is for like on a personal level, like on a human level, not so much a spiritual level, but you know that when you have the opportunity to, let's say, go work a 9 to 5 or do something that's maybe like construction or carpentry, and you say, wait a minute, no, that's not where my true path lies. And I know by putting this work in here that I'll be able to maintain, right? I'm not trying to get famous or make tons of money, but you know that the universe is going to provide for you because of the service you're giving back to people in the universe itself.
Yeah, exactly, bro. All right, so what was your question again?
Oh, yeah. So it's, where did Portal to Ascension start? And tell us what it means to you.
Okay. So the journey of Portal to Ascension really, and I guess it started when I was born, right? Like, I was born in England, UK. I was raised into UK when I was 12 years old. I moved to California. And I was raised into a Hindu family, never truly completely owned anything, just did what I was told, the rites and rituals, everything that most Indian people that I meet that are like my age or just a little younger, they don't have the same firm foundational beliefs as their parents, but they still do all the rites and rituals. It's like passed down generationally, you know? And I was one of those people, but I really never even thought about who God was or what God is, or even though I was within this religion. But when I graduated and I was 18 years old, around 19 years old is when I started waking up to a lot of information on the internet, finding out about Jordan Maxwell's occult information, Nassim Harameyn's information on quantum physics and how we can connect everything mathematically, how we can prove mathematically the unity of all things, right? And then also William Henry and Jim Self, and really had a full understanding, a full spectrum, pun intended, a full spectrum understanding on what was going on scientifically, spiritually, ancient, historically, right? And dots started, like pieces of the puzzle started coming together for me. And it really took me down a long journey that took around 8 years of hardcore research, exploration, channeling events, sound healing events, conferences, just absorbing content at an unprecedented level, going really deep down the rabbit hole, from government UFO stuff to spiritual UFOs, to ancestry galactically, to frequency vibration. And as I was learning all this information, I was connecting with people on Facebook, because that was like, where I was making all my spiritual friends from all over the world. And before Facebook deleted me a year and a half ago, I had literally 5,000 people on my personal profile. And most of those people are the people that ever since like the early 2000s, I started connecting with on a spiritual level. And from all these groups I was joining all these groups, the spiritual consciousness, aliens and everything. And then I decided in 2006 to create my own group. And I called it 2012 Consciousness, Mind, Evolution, and Presence. And then the whole purpose for the group was to see what people would share so I could learn more. It was like me, kind of what I'm doing with webinars, how I create events on topics so I can learn more about them. I created a group on a topic so I could learn more about that topic. And then all these people started joining. And over a period of 2 years, from 2006 to 2008, I changed the name a few times until finally in 2008. 2008 was when I got fired as a financial analyst, right? And this was the last time I worked any mainstream. I worked some corporate jobs after that, but like career-oriented jobs, that was kind of the end, 2008. So I got fired as a financial analyst when the market crashed, because I made a trade that that the stockbroker said that he didn't want me to do, and he got upset at me. The market crashed the next day, fired, right? So I decided to teach myself how to create websites. The first thing I taught myself to create, Portal to Ascension website. So I created the first rendition of it, and I started doing like side jobs for website design for people and everything. And that was the same year that I left. I was really hardcore into conspiracies before that, I was like, but to the point where it was disabling me. I was really scared. They were after me. The Illuminati is this, secret society is this. And I shifted that perspective from they being after me to realizing the bigger picture. Everything happens for a reason. The reason why we are here is to experience the duality. The darkness is actually working for the light. Even though they are doing all these things to us, that's giving us the contrast we need to understand and discover who we are. So it was synchronistic that the same year that I had that realization is the same year I changed the name to Portal to Ascension. And then since then, it started out. So this gets into your other question, like, what does it mean to me? When I started doing Portal to Ascension, I was doing sound healing events. I was doing extraterrestrial channeling events. I was going up and down the coast, meditation events. I started doing small ancient aliens events. But there were so many different things I was doing, from energy healing modalities to sound healing baths to conferences to psychic fairs. I was doing putting on art fairs and psychic fairs. Those were some of the first Portal to Ascension events, at holistic centers. And I could never figure out what I was. I was like, I'm doing too many things. How do I show all this into one place? It was really confusing for me, and it took like 4 to 5 years before everything started coming together. Everything was just random, and I was doing all these random things under the name Portal to Ascension. And then around 2012, I did 2 huge conferences in Irvine, California. And then after that, things started coming together more and coalescing. And then I eventually, in 2015, created the Portal to Ascension website that it is now, that is able to encompass everything. We can have tours on there. We can have tours to ancient sites on there. Tours for speakers to different areas in the world to present the information. Retreats to spiritual retreats. Webinars, live events. So a sound healing tour events page. So it ended up becoming this one-stop shop. So what it became to me is I always knew that I was interested in way too many topics for there just to be one thing that I could focus on. So I've eventually created a website where I'm able to be a full on production company for every single topic within the consciousness, everything that has to do with uplifting and informing humanity of our ancient past, our true potential, our spiritual essence, um, advanced sciences. So Portal to Ascension is, to more concisely answer your question, Portal to Ascension is, bro, is a beacon of consciousness and upliftment for the whole planet that is working with thousands of speakers, having 10,000 plus presentations in order to inform people as we're waking up. Portal to Ascension is twofold. Where not only for the people that are already awoken, right, and that are looking to further their studies so that they can become teachers of this information, but also for people that are waking up right now, that need to go to a place where they can be supported and to have all the information in one place presented in a really easy, accessible platform. So that's what it is. We're basically an organization that is here for this new paradigm that is emerging, that is the educational and informational and support group for those people that are going to be the pioneers in this awareness.
That, when you're saying that, so many things were flowing through my head, and it sounds like it's the Akashic record of now, right? Like it is literally like this, and it's so important too. And much like what your lead, one of the things that I've been working on is trying to create that database that's going to transcend anything or any eventuality, right? Not so much out there in the mainstream, but kind of like a resource back somewhere where it can stay safe. So, God forbid something crazy happens, we have the ability to gather that information. And, it's so important. It's so important for right now, too, because there's no roadmaps from this point, right? There was,
Yeah.
and with your story, 2012, which was supposedly that Mayan calendar end,
Yeah.
or kind of brought you into your new self. You almost had
Yes.
like that transformation from that anxiety moment to an empowering moment, and that is you crossed through the portal of ascension and came out the other side just tenfold more
Yeah.
powerful and so amazing, bro. What you do is so amazing, and the way you
It's
put people together and the way that you craft, because it's a craft, these specific events. It's just there's nobody else who can do it like you do it, Neil. Honest to God. Honest to God.
Thank you. Yeah, and it is. You're right. Like Portal to Ascension is kind of like a manifestation of myself and my own journey through the portal to Ascension, and it's still a journey. Like I'm not fully, because you talk about the Ascension on the level of us ascending to a reality based on unity and harmony and all that, but then there's also personal ascension, and we're personally transcending and ascending every day, right? Where we have to go through these challenges and all this stuff. So Portal to Ascension is not just what I went through, but it's also what I'm still going through, which is really working out the traumas. Is the most practical 3D way to explain it is finding tools, modalities, and information to heal myself from trauma that I've experienced in my life in order to basically be fully embodying my true mission and to be in joy, you know? And through that, I've cultivated a lot of information, a lot of people that are able to provide other people with the same content, you know?
Absolutely. So you basically you're transcending the past while, empowering the present to have a more cohesive physical and spiritual future, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just so much is involved in that and so many different avenues that you've touched on so far. And I see one of the things that you've been doing more and more, which I know is a passion for you, was spoken word and hip
yeah.
hop kind of style rapping. And I think
Oh, yeah.
MC Resonance is by far, like, when you do the spoken word and this specific type of rapping and hip hop,
Yeah.
it's so powerful, bro. It's so
Thanks.
powerful on a level. It like resonates to my bones.
Mm.
MC Resonance, right? Resonating
Yeah.
everywhere. But look, it's the truth. Like when you say these things, because what the way you say it, the way you go about it, it's you can hear the words, and the words
Yeah.
become something. Like the story is there because a lot of people who go through this process of trying to find who they are spiritually, a lot of them, that while it's very different, it's still kind of the same. and you
Yeah.
bring a lot of that together, and it's an amazing thing
Yeah.
to do.
Thanks, man. And I'll talk about my spoken word and my rapping for a bit. I actually had 3 names, MC names, and they changed. MC Resonance is my last name. When I was in college in the early years, my name was Desolate, right? And the reason why I was desolate is because I was into conspiracies and I thought we're all fucked.
Right,
I was
right.
like, I was like, yo, this world is desolate. We're all desolated, and that's the only thing we can expect. Then I became on the other side, way overly spiritual to the point that I was ignoring the darkness, right? So when I became like that, my name changed to Abundance because everything is
Wow.
abundant, right? And then my last name changed 6 years ago, I think it was, where I realized it's not about more, it's not about less, it's not about fear, it's not about love, it's about neutrality. And and I'm neutral. All I am is the frequency. That's what it came to me. So I'm like, okay, if I'm the frequency, who am I? MC Resonance. I'm just a vibration. I'm no polarity. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely, bro. And it
that was
shows
my
that it
journey.
shows the growth. Like in those names, it's like they're markers, right?
Yeah,
Where you've achieved specific things within your life to transform from what you were to what you are and to what you're gonna be. It really is like
exactly.
a 3 shift, right? Like everything we see is on a level of 3, and we know it's 369 as above, so below. But you know, it, it it's crazy to actually put your stories into that kind of modality because it really shows that there is the past which you work through and the present which we have to kind of sift through in the moment,
Yeah.
but it's really what our intentions are for the future. So what's your intentional
Mm.
future for MC Resonance and Portal to Ascension?
Oh, so much, man. Like, there's something, so some people channel, meditate, download, get information. I have something where I feel like I'm directly connected to a source of information. I get packets of information in my brain that outline like maps for years to come. And a lot of it has to do with linear stuff as well, marketing plans, business plans, plans for Portal to Ascension, its growth. So when I first started doing Portal to Ascension, within a couple of years, like by 2010, 2011, I already had like a 20-year game plan in my head. And I've been on point. Everything that I ever set for Portal to Ascension has either happened on time or before time, right? So part of what my original thing is that I feel like we're definitely going to continue to grow this website. And next year we have like 20 more events than we normally have, and normally we have like 110. So there's a lot going on, a lot more conferences, a lot more interaction. Because during the world situation that just happened over the last 2 years, what I noticed is because when we first, let me take a step back. When I first started doing webinars in 2015, I did a conference here, and then I did a webinar, a solo workshop with a speaker. Then I started doing more solo workshops with a speaker because they were easy to put together, easy to put up. And all these solo speakers, William Henry, Greer, McCannon, all these people, Michael Tellinger, wanted to do their own workshops on Portal to Ascension. So for a good few years, I went maybe like a handful of all-day conferences and mostly workshops and webinars. But then the world situation happened, and people wanted to have more interaction, community, and conversation online. So over the last 2 years, I shifted the energy back from solo workshops to more live all-day epic summits and conferences or multiple day summits. So now, going into next year, we have an ancient civilization series for the whole entire year where we're going through a different ancient civilization every month, starting with ancient India in January, Sumeria, Greece, all the way to 2023. We have one every single month. And then we have a lot of other conferences. We have the Kundalini online conference, the Crystal Skulls online conference. So I'm keeping the webinars and the solo workshops the same, but I'm increasing the level of all-day conferences because I'm realizing that when we all get together and have these conversations, rather than one person presenting and you're just in the audience, when it's like a 10-hour event, you know this because you've been on multiple ones. The interaction, the community, the energy, the testimonials afterwards, how people's life transform in those 10 hours, that is what I noticed in the last couple of years quite substantially. So in the immediate future, That's what's happening. And then on top of that, our app, we're gonna have an Android app, Apple app, Roku app. Within the next year, all that's gonna be there. So our level of production is gonna go up hardcore within 365 days. Plus a studio and actually produced videos and documentaries and taking it another level up as well. So that's the immediate future that's going to keep growing for the next 5 years or so. But the goal is I am now traveling full time. Right now, I'm going to every country I do not need to get a jab for because I don't have one. That's just my preference, right? And as soon as everything opens up, I'm going to actually be going to every country I'm able to go to in the world since I can work from everywhere and filming it and putting it on my YouTube. But my goal is I'm going to find land and build a portal to Ascension City, bro. That's my that's the
We're
that's
getting the
end
commune
goal.
going, baby. Yeah.
But it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be a commune, but it's be super conscious and like really working out certain triggers and traumas, assisting people, supporting a lot of people, working on cures for all types of illnesses, really high level technology, and also concentrating
retreat, like a
and
therapeutic
focusing
retreat.
on extraterrestrial contact, meditation events, and things like that to begin the communication for ETs. Because when I had this first download, like 15 years ago or so, or no, 10 plus years ago, I always thought for like almost 15 years now that I am going to be building docking stations for extraterrestrial craft, you know?
Nice.
And I don't know how that's going to look because maybe it's going to be light ships, maybe it's going to be teleportation, but I feel like I'm going to get some land and I'm going to really build something that's going to be the portal to Ascension Hub. And because of what just happened in the world, all my plans that I had for 4 to 5 years from now, I'm moving up to next year because there's no holding back right now. I don't know what's going to happen in the world. So I'm really taking a step proactively and trying to make this happen.
Absolutely, bro. And if there is portal to Ascension City, I will hopefully be on the Senate, bro. I will be there with bells on, building temples and ceremony sites and docking stations. I'm for all of it.
Dude, that's what I want, man. I want all my friends to be there together. I always felt that, a lot of us are doing our own work. You're all the way in New York. Omar's in Canada. A time is going to come where the number one career is consciousness, is the integration of extraterrestrial life on planet Earth. When this happens, a lot of us that are doing our independent things and elsewhere, everything's going to shift, dude. And I think we're going to be working more closely together and even in person and building new communities. Because in the the Yuga cycles that we all talk about, the theme of the next Yuga cycle is intentional communities. This is written thousands of years ago. That what happens is in the Kali Yuga, in the beginning of the Kali Yuga, democracy is formed, right? And then at the end of the Kali Yuga, democracy. This is written thousands of years ago. Democracy stops working because progress gets inhibited because people start canceling each other out because of their divided perspectives. You know what I'm saying? What are we seeing in the world right now? We're not seeing any progress because we're all canceling each other out every single time someone else wins. So at the end of the Kali Yuga, right, this starts crumbling, and then the beginning of a whole new societal structure starts. And what starts in the new society is literally communities and new cities that are intentional specifically on certain topics or focusing on certain energies. So when I heard all that information, it just made me really believe even more so that that's what we're going to be doing in the future, and chances are we'll be doing it together, man.
Absolutely, bro. And I'm all for that. I mean, it's true. It's true because living inside, being in New York myself and living inside of society, what I really have to do is I use my house as that hub right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have one foot in the real world and one foot in my world because the two I can't mingle 100% in the outside world right now because it's too much. There is too much infighting. There's too much political ideologies taking hold. Nobody's focusing on just being a good person or intentionally trying to be, something better than what they are now. Everybody's looking on a downward slant. And it's not everybody. I'm saying when I say everybody, I mean like kind of like the majority, not the people who are waking up to this. And one of the things we're seeing out there too is this knowledge is flowing at such a fast rate that there's so many people who are specializing in different areas of consciousness or different aspects of what we do that
Yeah.
we're going to need to bring all of those experts together, I think, to really prosper in a way that's going to be like off the charts or never seen before.
Yeah, and that's what Portal to Ascension represents: is unity and collaboration over division. And what I've had the opportunity to do is bring together a lot of people that maybe would never have worked together unless we did an event with all of them on it. And it's really about setting aside our differences and coming together for the collective good. And I feel that's happening more and more now, because a lot of people, like, you might see all this craziness and chaos outside, but when it comes to the people that we're connecting with, a lot of egos have been checked, and people are like, oh my God, it's game time. That's what I'm witnessing,
Yes.
working with so many people. And I'm having different types of conversations, more grounded conversations. The priority is more about, people need to make a living, right? And before, a lot of the conversations were first about how they make a living before the information. That's completely shifted now. It's about, what do I do to help? And then hopefully I can make a living as well. You know what I mean? So I feel our priorities are getting readdressed, because it really is game time, man. Like, if you look at all the stuff going on out there, all the corruption, the chaos on a global level, multiple governments all in hand doing this thing. When on earth has there been this many people that have all focused on fear at the same time and been scared shitless of dying on COVID, for example, right? The energy personifies, man, and it becomes something really tangible that actually can have an adverse effect on us on the planet. So what if we were able to do that for positivity and for enlightenment? You know what I mean?
We've done that. I mean, we've done that, and we've seen things like the Schumann resonance kind of give us a nod, like, look, you guys are really trying to do something that's beneficial as opposed to
Yes.
detrimental. And that's one of the reasons, like, and for me, those specific types of landmarks are like the things that drive me, like, to create those landmarks, because it's not about monetization. It's about the information. And when we see the earth and the universe kind of showing us, of course, when we start to get into meditations and things like that, the universe communes with you, and you start to feel different, and you start to know what that mission becomes. Like I said with the database, I was given that mission. My guide told me that is my mission. You are like your forefathers. You are like the ancient indigenous peoples who were doing cave paintings. You're going to do it in a new age way, in a digital way, in a paperback way. That's your job. And I was like, yeah, I love that. I love that. Because then, it's for the future. It's not for right now. It's for 50 years from now.
Yeah. So that's what it is, man. That's what you and I and a lot of these people are doing, is we just want to bring us all together. And something I like to say a lot is, we have way more in common than we have different from each other, right? You might have different personality traits, but some of the largest things in all of existence we have in common. One of which is we all exist on this planet, seemingly isolated from all these other lives that might be out there, right? We all live within space. We're all vibratory beings, We all came from an original source. We have more in common with each other than those who claim to rule over us, right? However, we grab onto the ideology of those rulers as if they're our own, when they don't even shop at the same grocery stores as us.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like
$20,000 ice cream. Yeah. Okay. Great.
So it's like, that's what it's all about, man. It's really like just bringing us all together. A good example that I use a lot is a 3D example. Like, for example, the water drought in California, right? There was a drought in California for quite a few years, and it ended like a couple of years ago in the rain. And they had people like arguing with each other on the streets about the water consumption. You were only allowed to water your grass twice a week at a certain time in the whole of California. My dad would get upset at his neighbor because they was watering on the wrong days, and they would have like fights, and people were arguing all over it. Yet golf courses still had their water never taken from them. Baseball fields still used a shitload of water never taken from them. Nestle was stealing water from the rainforest in California on an expired license, and no one said anything to them. They had everybody divided and fighting against each other. Yet on the corporate governmental level and for elite entertainment, there are no
Well,
rules.
forget it.
You know,
Forget it.
so that's just one example of how divide and conquer is really used. They put us against each other, right? Are you vax or not vax? All these type of things, but they don't even play by the same rules.
It's so true too, and just to talk about societal stipulations, I call them, because it's what boxes do you check? How about what boxes don't you check, or how far over? Let's check some boxes that are on a spiritual level, not a
Yeah,
socialite level, or like a social something. It's something. It's not tangible. Like, okay, I'm a straight white man, or and there's all these different boxes, and if you don't completely conspire or conscribe to each ideology, you're like half in and half out. So even the ones that are setting these tones are, if you're not 100% in, then you're not all the way in at all. And one of the things that I think about that our community is doing is the accepting of everyone and anyone. As long as we're all in the same frame of mind that we want to learn more, forever
yes,
student, be that next. What's the, because everybody's next step is different. We have different thresholds. We're all at different paces, but somehow when we come together, our energies combine, and it becomes this manifestation that's and that's our intentions. Our intentions are to do that, to come together and help bestow others with information so that they can empower themselves, right? And it's so sad to look out your window and see what's going on, but you can't feel bad about it, because the ones that will rise because of where they are and what they're doing, in the sense of spirituality, not in the sense of a social status or anything like that. It's meant to
yeah,
be. It's all out there for us to take hold of. And the more people that we get to think along the lines, I guess, without actually pushing them, we get to
yeah.
let them see what it is, as opposed to making them or telling them what to think. It
Right, right,
really
right.
attracts people in because of the togetherness, the wholeness, and that one energy source. And when they feel it, and they truly feel it, it's tough to turn away from.
Straight up, man. And just having compassion for other people, and then what I really cultivate with Portal to Ascension is that non-biased perspective where we're just providing information, but we're also letting people know that use your own discernment with this. We're not ever telling you what to believe. We're just providing information, research, and individual experiences that's going on with this whole thing on the planet right now. And then it's really up to the individual to see if they gravitate towards it or not. Because I really do not want to marginalize anybody. There's no one that is turned away from this information. This is universal information that we're sharing, right? So it's really about just providing it unconditionally. And if you're at the frequency where you're ready to receive it, then so be it. If you're not, that's fine too, because who am I to judge what experience you chose to have before you incarnated, right? Some people chose to not wake up, and it is what it is, you know. And if I truly believe, like, what's the meaning to life, right? My feeling is to experience,
Hmm.
because
Totally agree.
source wanted to experience itself in multiple ways, fractalized ways, and I know Omar's in the room, he might disagree with fractalization, but like, source wanted to experience itself. But does that mean source only wanted to experience itself as light, or does it mean source wanted to experience itself in every single possible way possible? And that also includes the darkness, the heaviness, the chaos, the division, the war. It would not have happened if that's not what Source wanted. Source wanted that. So if that's the case, Source is getting exactly what it wants from us having all these experiences. So I used to be like, everybody needs to wake up and listen to this information. But now I'm like, I have compassion and understanding for those who didn't, because they may be an extremely spiritually advanced soul, but they chose to incarnate this time and maybe not have that experience, right? I really don't
It's
know.
true.
I'm not tapped in 100% to the Akashic records where I completely know why someone does what they do. There's so many factors involved: past lives, soul contracts, agreements before you incarnate, right? So towards this, or maybe have a reaction. I lost you for a second, or maybe have a reaction to a negative reaction to what we're sharing is really what I try to like cultivate within myself.
Absolutely. And think about it this way too. If you're in a situation and you're only taking one side of that information, and there's it's like eating half a pizza when you have half pepperoni and half sausage. I want a piece of both, right? Like you want the whole
All right.
pizza, regardless of what it is. You have to encompass. It's not a full encounter of what actually is to be in that moment without seeing all facets or all aspects of it, because you're never going to walk through your day and just have light all day long. Some days will be somewhat close to that, but it's never just light all the time. It's a healthy dose of both. You wouldn't appreciate the light if there wasn't those bad
Yeah.
times either. Another thing that you said is the fact that, you know, we chose to be here right now. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact of waking the world up. We chose to be part of this cascade in this moment because of the significance of the importance of it, of what we really, really are trying to accomplish in the sense of helping out source, ourselves, and the planet in a whole. I might have lost you a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's on my end or your end, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. But you know, it truly is a moment in time where we're seeing history unfold. This has not happened any other time or anywhere else ever within our history. And to choose to be here right now, it comes to this sense of, what are you going to do with that time, right? What do you choose to do with that time? Are you going to roll over? Are you going to lay down? Or are you going to get up and you're going to speak about what you know about, what you're passionate about, what you choose to bring to the table, and bring that to the table every time? Be consistent with that energy, but also go and look at the past that you've had. And I know people say don't look in the past, but go look in the past, because the past is important to cultivate the now. And when you're in the now, you need to experience the now. And what I mean by experience is you need to encompass all of it, all aspects of the now. And in turn, what that does is when we get to that future point, it becomes this incredible moment, right? This incredible moment where we get to decide, dictate, and manifest what that future is for us, and how we step into it, and the way we step into it, and on what level. So, and Neil, I'm sure, is going to be coming back any moment, but it's truly important to understand it all, right? And to discern information now. Then, Neil talked about discernment. Discernment is wild, because what could be truth to me may not be truth to everybody else. I believe we got him back. There he is. What's going on, Neil? We got your back, bud. Can you hear me?
All right, cool, man. Did you tap dance a little bit?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was talking about,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? No? Maybe not. I think we lost him again for a little while. It's all right. But maybe, maybe not. You got me? Can you hear me?
I hear you, but
I just heard you. I just heard you.
all right, yo, I'm here. I'm here. We're here.
All right, good, good. So what I was talking about was, I was talking about the discernment and how much information is coming at you. And it's challenging to understand all of the information, and there's no way you're going to be able to take all of it at face value. It's just too much. It's too rapid. It's too many things going on at the same time. So, and also one of the reasons why we go into different information, or back into other information, is because the histories kind of gives us a like a self work of now. When I look at history, I'm doing work on my internal. It's not external. Even though it
Yeah.
may seem that way, it's not.
I love that, bro, because that's what it is all about. We're doing all this information and research on ancient history, spirituality, sciences. But what are we doing that for? We're actually doing it in order to get more of an understanding of who we are within inside of us, right? And what kind of information these ancient people knew about our spiritual essence. What does this quantum physics information show us about how we're all interconnected? So I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely, because we saw what they were doing and the way that they were living in a symbiosis style relationship with the
Yep.
planet and each other. And to mimic that is to ascend into people, when they look at it, they'll say, well, that's prehistoric. It's not. We're ascending to a simpler time. And when we start to
Yeah.
get rid of all of the different style, I guess, what are they called? Stimulus, that external mechanical stimulus. It's back to self, it's back to
Yeah.
the rooting, and it's back to grounding and figuring out how to live on this planet without the creature
Uh-huh.
comforts is empowering too.
Yeah, it's like what can we do with that information? And something that we definitely do in Port Ascension is what can we learn from our ancients that can help us be present in this now and understand ourselves even more, right? And also, some of these ancient civilizations they made mistakes. If we look at Atlantis, if you look at any of the research there, they made mistakes. What can we learn from the mistakes that we made in the past so we don't repeat them? you know, Creating an inorganic reality, relying too much on the external rather than focusing on what's inside of us, right? These are different elements that our ancients have done before. And the most important one of it all, we're not the most advanced civilization that's ever existed on this planet. We've gone through cycles of time. There's been even more advanced civilizations, or at the same level as us. Some of them didn't need computers and electricity and webcams. They had other types of awareness and ways to communicate. There's so much insight. If we understand our history and the cycles of time, we can start navigating our world in such a more efficient way that we can avoid certain cataclysms. We can even avoid asteroid hits on the planet, and we can even time them. Because if you look at the Yuga cycles and you time them with different cataclysms of the Earth, they almost always happen at the end of one cycle, right?
Yes.
What if this was taught to us and in our education systems? You know?
Throughout each yuga cycle, there's like this middle point too, where mankind as a whole goes through like a tribulation of some sort, whether it's ascension into the mechanical world or some sort of catastrophe sometimes. And what happens is
Yeah.
that moment, it depending on how they act within that moment, shows whether man gets knocked back to the Stone Age or prospers for another 12,500 years. It's
Right,
wild.
right, right. Yeah. So there's so many things. Even astrology, if we mapped out our future stars, what the energies are like, and focused and went with the energies, and we were resisting, we're going against the current in every single thing in life. But we have a map provided to us by the stars, by ancestors, by amazing calendars that were left here as well. Galactic calendars, Maya calendar, the Minoans calendar, which I'm doing research on lately, which is the precursor to ancient Greece, about 2,000 years BC, the most accurate calendar that's ever been found. And within these, we're able to observe the cycles of time and to the pinpoint almost realize when these moments will be and what we should be doing, at those times. And I feel since the information is out there, it just needs to be really the most commonly accepted information so that we can start using it and implementing it in society. And that's what I'll have in my city, bro.
Yeah, dude. And another thing that you're looking at in a lot of
Yeah.
those histories too is how they interacted with beings that were not of this reality
Yes.
or this plane. So it's kind of giving us a roadmap on if we, let's say society as a whole comes into this moment where they reveal themselves on a grander scale or in a more, I guess, not in a subtle way, but in like an in your face kind of way. It gives us a roadmap on how to interact, how to act, and how to communicate, I guess, with these specific style beings, because all these different indigenous cultures saw
Yeah.
all these different types of beings and they labeled them and they put myths out there on them and they created stories around them, which we can also learn from. And there's an abundance of information, more so than what you see at face value. And that's a lot of, I believe, what Portal to Ascension is too, is
Yeah.
breaking down the layers of that information and all the different things
Right.
that connect us between physical and emotional and consciousness and spiritual. I mean, there's so much that we could
Yeah,
touch
man.
on with that too. It's insane, man.
It is. And then the hidden history. It's not even some of the stuff, has been hidden and stuffed under the rug, and some of them completely like put under the Vatican and things like that. But then there's sites that we haven't even gone into yet that have libraries of information that are just there ready to be looked at. But a lot of times, based on funding, corruption, and religion being the main one, those aren't explored, right? A great example would be Egypt. Lots of they'll leak photos just recently leaked from the Sphinx in Egypt, and they have found that there are chambers that are boarded up inside the Sphinx, not underneath it, even though there's something underneath, but inside, locked up. And the only thing that I could really go to in realizing what's going on here, because the same thing happens in Peru, there's a lot of places like that in Peru, is that the actual people that own the country, like the Catholic Church, Peru being a Catholic place, Islam being the religion in Egypt, they don't want information to come out because it would actually blow up the conventional timeline and be a threat to organized religion. So it's just there's so many things that just because of these little things that people are scared that their beliefs and their ideologies are going to be rocked, things aren't released.
It's so true because the dogmatic situationalism that is those specific religions that if you do this, then you don't do that, or it's so disempowering and it's so follow the leader that it makes me sick to think about it a lot. And I'm not saying that people aren't a lot like they shouldn't believe what they believe. If you believe that, I hope that you have the ability to discern what you're seeing and transcend in that avenue further, right? And it's just for me, especially when you see what's going on out there right now, a lot of that is caused because of religious values and what these dogmatic systems really put into place. And it's a tough go at it out there. It's a tough go.
I'll give you a good example of two things in Peru, one of which is the elongated skulls. Why is it that the only people researching the elongated skulls coming out of practice and beyond are people from overseas that are doing it without the permission of the government? Because they don't want to know what the DNA study results are on that. Why is it that I went to a place with Brian Forrester in Peru. It was a pyramid that was only around a quarter excavated, probably less than that even. And you can go around the outside, but you couldn't go inside. And they stopped excavation. A group of archaeologists from Italy, commissioned by the Italian government, given money from the Italian government, were the excavators. Had nothing to do with the Peruvian government. The Peruvian government only said yes because they were told that they could monetize it for entrance fees, right? So then they ran out of funding and left it. But you go there, you stand on top of the pyramid, and then you see about 100 to 200 mounds around it. They're all freaking pyramids.
Wow.
Completely unexcavated, with a plethora of information and data inside, and all these chambers, boom, just left there. It's too much of a threat to even go ahead and do that stuff.
That's crazy.
A lot of the countries, the only time, like a lot of, especially, I don't like the term third world because that's a term given to it by the first world, but I'm just going to give you an example. A lot of third world countries that are impoverished because of what the first worlds have done to them, right? Have actually do not have any time or any even want to excavate their own structures. Almost all the time, the excavations are done by foreigners that come there and say, hey, you can make money off this, right?
That's crazy.
So, for example, the Nazca lines.
Right.
It was a German lady that came there, found it, and had to tell the government that they could make money off it if they would preserve it. Otherwise, they would have been driven over by now.
That's wild. And, to think about that. And then you have places like China who go into their pyramids and then they intentionally cover them with mounds of dirt to hide what's inside of them because they're so scared of what that might be like if that information got out to the world.
And they're so good at hiding information in China, man. It's so crazy. Like, because I've heard some leaked information that they found a blonde mummy. They found, some ancient wisdom that dates back humanity even further. But you never know what to believe when it comes out of there because it's so good to hide information. But that's the thing, man. Like, there's so much information out there on the planet. There's so much evidence to suggest that we've been around for much, much longer than we've been told. But the media, the entertainment industry kind of actually makes you feel that it's either what is it? Either a fantasy world because it's entertainment, or you're completely a conspiracy theorist if you start to go against what's conventionally accepted. And another great example is archaeological anomalies are found all the time. Just read Michael Cremo's book Forbidden Archaeology, right?
Yep.
Just it's not even it's a simple search. Just go to YouTube and look at a mainstream video on archaeological anomalies no one can make sense of, right? It's a mainstream video. And there's just like thing after thing after thing from like a CD from like thousands of years ago, etched in rock that was like ingrained in rock to all types of crazy stuff, right? So the thing is with alternative forbidden archaeology isn't that it's fringe and conspiracy and it doesn't exist. It's that there is a conventional timeline. Most of these archaeologists, if they go against what's conventionally accepted, they'll be ridiculed, lose their job, and lose their funding. What does it come down to? People need to live.
Money.
So they don't want to lose. Yeah, they don't lose. They didn't go to school all these years and get these degrees in order to be ridiculed from their own community. That's what's been going on. And so that's more of the reason than the conspiracies. Some of the governments and religions, yes, there's doing that, but a lot of the people that have the ability to say this information won't because they don't want to lose their careers. But that is changing, I feel, because more and more information is coming out now, and it's getting to a point where you really can't deny that history, as we've been told, is pretty much a lot of it has a lot of BS in it, you know?
There was a landmark of that too when we talk about indigenous peoples to the United States and how they thought that this 12,500 year, kind of Native American thing was hanging out. And then they find 24,000-year-old footprints in New Mexico. You can't say no, it's there. And then the whole world knows too. So they just blew up their own spot. But you're so right. It goes back to funding, and it's cornering the information so they can deliver it and inspect it and make sure that they can be the ones who monetize it. That's what they don't want. And that's how they work in this conjunction with different things like the tech companies, and to really bring that information out at their pace, at their behest. And that's one of the things that, we used to be called conspiracy theorists about everything. And now, as of this year, so much has been conspirafact from conspirafiction that they can't deny the people screaming with the tinfoil hats on anymore. They really can't.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just more and more confirmation and validation. Just go and look at the NSA's documents, the CIA's documents, the FBI documents. Things that are even more sensational than the things that we talk about are in there. Remote viewing Mars, 1 billion BC on the CIA's website.
Oh, yeah.
1 billion BC remote viewing of Mars? I mean, look at this, an agent and a remote viewer speaking back to back. Right there, a transcript on their own website. What did it say?
Can't
there are
deny
giants, there's structures here. There are giants, there are bones of skeletons, and there's a big ass pyramid here. Those are all the things that were on the CIA's own website.
And what did he say too? He said something like, "Don't worry about right now. Worry about 1 million years ago on Mars." That was like one of the big things that he said. And they were like, "Wait a minute, you saw 1 million years ago?" And he was like, "Yeah, I went through time and space, bud." And I was like, "Oh man," and DARPA with the technologies that they're trying to do to control things, and it's getting to this transhumanistic future that has to be dialed back a little bit, because technology isn't bad. It's whose hands is it in?
It's the consciousness of the people who use it.
Yes.
And as a lot of people have said, is that technology is exponentially increasing, but the consciousness of the people utilizing it isn't going at that same pace, right? So it's like whatever level of awareness you're at is the way you're going to use it. That's why a lot of these technology is being used for what? It's used for control, power, and war, right? And division, because that's the
Very
consciousness
much so.
for very, very advanced things. And that's only the stuff that we're seeing out there. Imagine all the black budget programs, the trillions of dollars that get missing from the Defense Department. All of that goes to either funding the other side, because truly they're working for both sides and they want war to continue. And great examples are all the weapons that they've given to other people that they're supposedly against. And then the rest of it goes to funding all these type of crafts, reverse engineering technology that they're not even telling us exist. You know?
So true. So true.
Mhm.
So, Neil, I want you to before we wrap up. I just
Yeah.
pulled up Portal to Ascension. I want you to talk about some of the upcoming events that you guys have going on,
All right.
because there is a lot. There's so many good ones that it's this year. I am looking forward to this year so much with Portal to Ascension because it's going to be insane,
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Yep. So one that's not on the website right now, but on the 5th, which is this Sunday, I am doing a panel with JJ Desiree Hertag, who's also there for the 11th, Whitley Strieber, Alan Steinfeld, and myself. It's called A New Vision of the Christ Consciousness. And that panel will be on youtube.com. So that's Portal to Ascension this Sunday, the 5th at 12 p.m. So if you want to tune into that. And then this one's our next event with the Hertags. That's going to be on December 11th, so not too far away from now. And that's going to be on understanding of multidimensionality. And then the other one is a MUFON event. We'll skip over that. I'm just helping them out by creating their events. And we're on month number 2 of our 6-month webinar series with Michael Tellinger, in which, if you know Michael, all types of topics: sustainability, eco communities, ancient civilizations, new discovery in South Africa, ancient alien information, sound frequency, quantum physics, NASA's a lie. Lots of information there. So it's half of it is presentation, and the other half is Q&A. And then this one is something new with Brendan. It's actually a free flow creative expression workshop where you get to actually, he's going to guide us through certain prompts, and we're going to do freestyle poetry expression, communication, poetry, whatever you want, just expressing yourself from the heart. After we do some meditations and activations and exercises. And the whole purpose of this is to embody your creative flow, your self-expression, and activate your throat chakra. But it's an extremely powerful event. You can even sit back and listen if you don't want to say anything. But I'm sure when you're in there, you're going to want to. We're just going to go around. It's a safe place for us just to fully express. And a lot of us just say words, and it just becomes poetry as we're speaking.
The Mystic Spider-Man, he is incredible.
Yep. Now, here's my presentation that I'm doing on the 19th. Truth, Life, and Times of Pythagoras. We hear a lot about Pythagoras, especially when it comes to sound frequency, geometry, all this stuff, music of the spheres. So this is an exploration of all those topics here, but also the life and the times when he lived, what was going on. They call him a Greek, but Greece didn't even exist back then. He was from a city-state, right? So just deciphering it and really giving you the context of what it looked like. Then this is the beginning of the year, the Watkins 2-day conference, which is our 2nd annual conference on Watkins, co-produced with Sheila Seppi and Alan Steinfeld as well. And that's going to be on January 8th and 9th of next year. And it's going to just be a huge celebration. We all start the year out pretty big.
It's going to be intense.
Yeah, and then we'll skip the rest of them. There's a lot more. But then if you want to know more, just go to portaltoascension.org, online events, and you can check them out there. But the best way to really stay connected is just go to our homepage, portaltoascension.org, put your username and password, and sign up to our email list. You also get a username and password for signing up, and you get 3,000 hours of presentations for free just by signing up to our website. So go ahead and take a look at it. There's a huge archive of information there, and we're constantly adding new content as well.
There's so much information there. And also on the YouTube as well, for those of you who are on YouTube. Portal to Ascension YouTube is incredible. There's so many amazing panels, and a lot of those panels come from those big events, and
Yes.
you put the panels out there, which is really great because you kind of get that feel of the flow of how the conference is going too. And, you know, we're getting to the end here, Neil, and I just want to tell you, brother, it's always an honor and a privilege when you come through. And I respect you so much, and I am so excited to walk shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand with you into this new year, and really try and a lot of what we do, or what I do right now, is emulating a lot of what you did, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you know, trying to work my way up to where you are. And I have such a respect and love for you, brother, and I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so happy we met, and I'm so happy we talk a lot and we get things done and we get to work together. It's just incredible.
Dude, I feel the same way, man. Your energy and just who you are as a person and your authenticity is the reason why I like keep connecting with you and want you on all these events. So I appreciate you, man. Love you so much.
I love you too, brother. All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Anything you want to say to them before we get out of here?
No, everybody, just I love you all. We'll just keep moving forward, you know, despite the craziness outside. We just got to focus on keeping us self-centered, and the more of us that do that, the more of us do the inner work, the more we're able to create this world that we know is possible. And that's it from me.
Ditto, baby. Let's get it. That was absolutely perfectly said. So, with that being said, guys, thank you for sharing this time with us tonight, and we'll see you next time on Full Spectrum Universe.
Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.